creative friends, it's Gwen. I'm back in the studio, and in today's video I'll be sharing tips for selecting and buying your very first cutting machine. I get asked about this all of the time, so today I'm going to break down everything you need to know from what cutting machine I would personally recommend and how you can best select a machine that will meet your needs. The process for buying your first cutting machine can be really overwhelming, from what brand to buy to the models and the features that you'll need, and of course budget. Don't worry, I'm going to break down all of those things and everything that you need to know in this video. So the main brands that I would recommend you look at are Silhouette and Cricut. There are indeed other brands such as Brother Scan and Cut. However, I'm going to be speaking on just the Silhouette and Cricut today because these are the two brands that I am most familiar with. The first question you want to ask yourself is, what am I going to use the machine for? If you're like me, you'll be working on mainly papercraft projects. I am at heart a papercraft girl. Or are you wanting to jump right in and be able to cut a bunch of different products from vinyl to chipboard or to even wood? Also, you'll need to consider the size of the projects that you want to make, because the answer to this question will really help you narrow down the choice of machine. The maximum width that each machine can cut varies from model to model, so you'll need to think about that. The second thing I would do is download the free software for each of these machines. You can do this before you've purchased the machine, just to try it out. Doing this will tell you if your computer device is capable of running the program, and if you aren't super tech savvy, it will show you how much you'll need to learn to be able to use the program. You'll also want to grab yourself a couple of SVG designs to work with, and I have a link in the description where you can get some. I send out lots of inspiration in the newsletter, some tips and tricks, and a free design every single month. So while I'm chatting tech, you'll need to be sure to also check your hardware. I'm on a Mac and I needed to purchase a USB adapter to be able to plug my Silhouette machine into my actual MacBook. Be aware that not all of the components that you'll need will be included in the box with the machine. It will vary depending on what kind of device you're going to be using. Another really easy way to gather information and learn more about the machines is via forums and Facebook groups. They are full of information and real-life customer experiences, which is super important. There are several, including Silhouette Lovers Australia, Cricut for Aussies, and if you are not an Aussie, there are plenty of international and US-based groups. They're all online and they're actually a lot of fun to be a part of. So jump on in and get studying. Once you've done all of that, you've spent quite a lot of time in the forums, reading a lot of the comments and getting that real-life customer experience. It's now time to go to a store, a physical store. This part you don't want to be doing online. I've headed on down to my local Spotlight store. Spotlight for us in Australia is a big box craft store. So you want to go somewhere that has all of the machines either on display or available to look at. Now's a really good time for you to check all of the different models. You want to see the build quality, you want to have a look at the overall size of the machines, and if you keep an eye out on their promotional material, you might even be able to time your visit with someone who is doing in-store demonstrations. If you're able to attend a craft show or craft fair, you can see them in action there as well. And that is actually the best way to see the machines working. They often have them set up and plugged in. They're doing demos. You can ask lots of questions. And I've always found the staff that are manning those booths to be super helpful. And once you've done all of those things, you're clearly in a much better position to be able to choose the right machine for you. It might sound like a lot of research and it will take you quite a bit of time. You'll have to do it over several months, but I promise it will be worth it because cutting machines are not cheap and there would be nothing worse than getting a machine home that doesn't fit your needs. So we do also need to talk a little bit about budget. The machines themselves do vary in cost. You will be spending hundreds of dollars here. It's not just the machine though that you need to think about. You need to have a think about the accessories as well. This is the big reason I actually only recommended Silhouette and Cricut at the start of this video. As you continue to use your machine, you will need to replace things like cutting blades and mats, and these actually vary in price a lot. There are some off-brand options available, so check those out, but be sure to do this only once your warranty period has passed, because using non-genuine parts in your machine will void your warranty. Make a list of all of the consumables that you'll be using with your machine. That will definitely be blades and mats, but it will also be things like vinyl, maybe pens, that kind of thing. Check them all out, compare them all, because that is going to be an ongoing cost for you. I'll also mention here that I would avoid going all in on all of the accessories to start with. The machines themselves will often come in a pack, like a starter pack. So you'll start with a blade, you'll start with a mat, and the basics of what you need just to get started. So I recommend waiting until you've had a little bit of experience, see what you like about the machine, what you don't like about it, the projects that you like to make, and then you can go and get vinyl in every color of the rainbow. Even as a paper crafter, I have found that I prefer particular cardstock to go through my machine. So if I had sort of jumped on in and bought 100 packets of one type, I might not like it. So yeah, just go slowly. Trial and error is definitely part of this process. To save yourself some money, you could go for a second-hand model. These do come up for sale in the Facebook Marketplace groups quite regularly actually. They are going to have a lower price point. Generally speaking, they're an older model, so they're a good place to start, especially if you are on a budget. The thing is too, with a second-hand model, should you go to sell it in a year's time, say you want to upgrade or you decide it's not for you, quite often you can get sort of pretty much what you paid for it back. You'll just need to keep an eye on Facebook Marketplace and know when you see a good deal. I do have to mention though, buyer beware. Make sure that you do thoroughly check the listings and be sure to see the machine working before you finalize the sale. Meet in a public place and consider your personal safety first. I really also want to mention here that if you're not super certain about having a cutting machine, please don't jump in and buy the biggest, most expensive, big bells and whistles model. It's a little like buying a Lamborghini for your first car. It's so hard to know how much you'll enjoy it and how much you'll actually use the machine until you have a machine. Even if you're thinking about having a machine as part of a business, remember you can always upgrade. So you've done all this research and you're still not sure? Now's the time to ask a creative friend. Ask them what they love about their machine, but also ask them what they hate about their machine. I don't know anyone who wouldn't want to share their tips and advice. I often see cutting machines being taken to craft retreats, and that is a great environment to ask questions and see the machine in action. So what machine would I personally recommend? I would go with a Silhouette Cameo. I personally own two. I own a Cameo 3 and a Cameo 4. Having said that, I do know a lot of creatives who use the Cricut and they love it. Build quality is excellent for both machines. Software super easy to use for both. The reality is that either of these two brands is an excellent choice. I'll leave you some links in the description box below, including links for the mats and blades that I use. Do you have advice for someone who might be buying their very first cutting machine? Be sure to leave that in the comments below. Would you like even more info on working with cut files? I do have a playlist that I have created especially for you. It's full of information for beginners, including how to trace a cut file in Silhouette Studio software. It's got how to back a cut file with pattern paper. There's layout, inspiration, ideas, and heaps more. Check that out right here, and I'll see you all in the next video. Until then, Bye!